Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/surviving infidelity, where OP's wife did the most expected thing. Let's begin. My girlfriend doesn't know that I know she's planning on leaving me and taking our daughter. Posted by Reddit user The Electrical Buffoon.
A little context. We're both 21. We have a daughter named Allie. We had her by accident at 19. We were only about 2 years into dating, but we've made it work out pretty well. I make solid money, and I'm about over a year from applying for my full license for my career. She has been doing online school for a law degree. I'm a big racing guy. It ran in my family as my dad and uncle were as well. My dad passed away in an accident when I was 13, so he never got to meet our daughter. However, I got to keep a couple of his old cars and have been working on them for years. I've taken them to the local track and I've even done street racing in certain areas out around me. As ridiculous as it sounds, he died a couple weeks before the newest installment of the Fast and Furious 7. He loved those movies and so did I guess if anyone knew the legacy around that movie, it does mean a lot to me even with how ridiculous it is. My girlfriend has never been a big fan of the racing. She's always understood the importance it has held to me, so she has tried to work with it. But her best friend is in a long-term relationship with my best friend. My best friend got into an accident over the summer racing and flipped his vehicle. He survived and mostly came out all right outside some bruises and a concussion, but my girlfriend was adamant that I quit doing it. This sparked an ongoing issue with us, which while I understand her concern, I haven't been in anything nearly close to an accident. I work on all my own stuff so I know exactly what I'm doing, and she has reasonably said I can't bank on that forever. Which is fair, but I've communicated I'm not ready to give that part of my life up yet. I have so much I want to still do and accomplish that my dad never did. I love running into his old buddies and talking to them, telling me how I'm just like him and how proud he'd be. I raced a couple weeks ago, everything went well and fine. However, my best friend reached out to me to tell me that my girlfriend planned on leaving me around New Year's. This was a conversation between her and her best friend, which was relayed back to me by my best friend, which he wasn't supposed to tell me. I do feel conflicted. I get her concern. It was heightened when Allie was born. I know she wants me to let it go and her concerns are valid. I definitely don't want to make her out to be a villain. I just really don't think I can right now. I love my girls too, and I love spending time with them. They're well cared for and like I said, we are doing much better than most parents at our age. At the core of me though, I really wanted to be just like my dad. Hell, I even want to explore bike racing. It's hard to let that go for the reasons I've given. However, I never wanted to be an absent parent because I know what it's like to not have that parent. I guess I have around a month to really think about. That feels terrifying. Obviously keeping it to myself, I haven't really talked about it with anyone, so I'm just looking to put that out there. Thanks for reading. Edit. I would like to say my dad didn't die from racing. His accident came from a drunk driver when he was coming home from work one night. My dad never got hurt on the track. He was smart. Also, I get people who think I'm being stupid for my life decisions. I never expected people to have my back. However, telling me to sell the cars is pretty disrespectful and I'll ignore everything else you write. Racing is one thing, but the cars are the only thing I still have of him.
OP, when you say street racing, are you talking about illegal racing? Because that makes one hell of a difference here. Look man, it's not just illegal, but if you hit a bystander or cause a big collision, you will end up in court, and that could ruin both you and your daughter's future. Look man, you don't have to let that dream of yours go. Just hit pause on it and focus on your daughter first. You can always do it as a hobby or do it when you're older. Now to your girlfriend situation. It is really sad that you think you still have time. OP, she's already talking about leaving you, which means that she's been thinking about it for a really long time. Emotionally, she has left you months ago. Think about it, OP. She's actively planning to leave you. With a child, that likely means arranging housing and other things ahead of time. She may have already signed the lease and booked a mover for a January move-in date. Hell, it might be even possible that she's moving in with another man. And now for today's second story. My D-Day was 2 days ago. I'm completely lost. Posted by Reddit user Itharia.
I just wanted to start by saying that this sub has been really helpful these last 2 days. Just knowing that I'm not alone in this and that unfortunately, many others are experiencing or have experienced the same thing is helping me keep my head above the water. Now for a bit of context. We have been happily married for 4 years and we have a perfect 2-year-old daughter together. Up until this point, our marriage has been great, at least for me. Of course it evolved, especially with our daughter coming into our lives. Less spontaneous dates, less traveling, just the two of us, less energy overall to do things outside of the usual routine, working, taking care of our daughter, sleeping. What's important for the rest of the story is that my wife started sharing some issues bothering her during this time. We have very different personalities. I'm an introvert. I like calm. I recharge my batteries when I'm alone or in a calm environment, with my family or close friends. My wife, while not being the exact opposite, is clearly tilting more towards the extrovert type of personality. She has to see her multiple groups of friends often. She likes to plan things. She has to always look toward the future and plan for what she will do next. She also likes spending quality time with just my daughter and me, of course. We made it work easily up until now. We share great times together in our home, and while she's out with her friends, I can recharge my batteries on my end as well.
By the end of this, you are going to be crying like a little bitch.
Now getting back to her issues as I digressed. She started telling me a few months ago that she had frustrations. I'll agree on one thing, I did not try to act on it and to help her get through it, which is a failure on my side, and I now realize that. If I try to explain it, I think it falls under projection. Since I did not have any issue in our marriage, why would she? After all, only us three mattered. Everything else did not. So what if our home was not ideal? What if our bathroom was too small and unpractical? What if our sex life had gotten worse since the birth of our daughter? That's not what mattered. At least not to me. So I projected that on her and failed to try to handle this like a good spouse would. Fast forward to D-Day. I know her very, very well, and I started noticing weird things for the past 2 weeks. She was going out more often and coming home later than usual, sometimes at 4 or 5 a.m. She was a bit more secretive with her phone and other things I won't list. But that was enough to get my mind to wander, even if I trusted her completely. I tried to convince myself at first that I was imagining things, that she wouldn't do something like that to me, that it was simply impossible. After all, we had 2 years old together and already planning for a second child. Then one night, after one last particularly telling clue, I caved and went through her phone while she was sleeping. Hardest moment of my life. Now mind you, I've read way worse in here. In hindsight, my D-Day was a shock, but tame in terms of content. I basically just saw a kind of flirty discussion with a coworker, but from reading the first lines, nothing really special and lots of work-related talk. She is a very friendly woman, and yes, it was perhaps a bit too flirty, but not proof anything was happening. However, at one point after scrolling, there it was, "Thank you for tonight, get home safe at 4 a.m. Could not sleep for the remainder of the night." In the morning, I confronted her. Before telling her I saw anything, I just asked her if she was cheating on me, which she denied. After telling her I had proof that I saw the discussion, she confessed. Now I'm familiar with the concept of truth trickling, but I will share her story anyway for the sake of it. She told me it happened twice and that she did not tell me, and did not confess when I initially confronted her, because she was planning to end it. That it was not even a thing, that there were no sentiments toward him, that she still loved me, and that she just lost track of herself for the past 2 weeks. That she felt like she was living 2 different lives, that she got carried away and forced herself to not analyze it, focusing on work. That we were different. To me, sex and love were going hand in hand, but she was able to compartmentalize, and that was simply that. Just sex, and not even good. Of course, my first question was why, because I could not fathom how she could do this to me. She immediately linked it to the frustrations above, that she was not feeling really happy for some time, that she tried talking to me about it and that I rejected it. She then felt unheard, unsupported, and sexually frustrated because I was not really listening to her needs. It's important to note that she was not trying to justify herself, as she took full accountability, granted after being confronted with proof, and she agreed that it was 100% her fault. But I was trying to understand what could bring her to do something like this, and she was trying to explain it, even though it was not an excuse. Fast forward to now. I spent 2 days alone with family and had a 6-hour discussion with her afterwards. She has been love-bombing me, reassuring me, promising me everything. But no way to know if this is just her panicking and fear of losing everything or true regret. Of course, I want to stay, to take her word for it because I love her so much. It seems that what she is telling me makes sense. After all, I looked at all the texts with the affair partner and nothing showed sentiments. The truth is that I caved. I know what all of you will say, that I should file immediately, that this is just some trick because she is panicking and trying to get me to stay to keep her cozy life as is, that this is love bombing, truth trickling, and that it will happen again and I'm going to get hurt even more. I realize that, and there is a high probability that this is true, but I don't think I can go. I love her too damn much, and I love my daughter too damn much to be prepared to see her only half of the time at just 2 years old. If there is a chance that our marriage can work, I have to take it. After all, if her parents are still together after 40 years of marriage and a year-long infidelity, why wouldn't we be able to make it work?
Wow, like a bitch.
And that's what Frieza said.
Edit, you guys deserved an update. First and foremost, sincere thanks to all of you. Some were harsh, some were supportive, but I tried hearing everything you were saying to help, and I get why the tough love to get your point across. Following these advice, we had a deep discussion yesterday night and she understood that keeping the job was no longer possible and agreed to quit if that would ease my pain. After that, we will work on telling family and friends. On my side, most of my friends and family are now aware of the infidelity. On her side, she only told the sister and the best friend. The rest of her family don't know yet, but we will be working on that too. I am fully aware of the risk I'm taking, and I'm not deciding to take this chance while rug sweeping and forgetting it happened. I made it clear that I will not forget, that it will always be there, and that she will have to prove herself with actions more than words over the long term. She understood that as well and showed willingness. I will continue to give updates if wanted, as you guys have been really supportive and helped me get through yesterday.
OP, you said that you've been reading these subreddits about infidelity, so I assume you know exactly where you will end up in since you forgave a cheater. And if that's the path that you chose, then all I can do is to wish you luck and continue to feature weak men like you on my channel as a cautionary tale to others so they won't end up in the same shitty situation. I'll be looking out for your updates. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.